Prashant, it's so nice to have you on the show today. How are you doing?
Great. Thank you so much, Elisha, for having me. I'm very excited to have the chance to talk with you and to talk to your listeners.
Beautiful. Thank you so very much, Prashant, for being here. You see, I truly appreciate you. And you see, my man, oftentimes I love to thank my guests for two things. And I do this so often to the point where it has become my anthem. So, firstly, Prashant, I want to say thank you so very much for investing in yourself. You see, my man, you are on this platform right now because you did invested in yourself. And oftentimes, Prashant, I love to make reference to the amazing mango tree. You see, some couple of months back, I was on a particular road, and just by the roadside, Prashant, there was this very tall, unattractive mango tree. And I used the word unattractive because the mango tree's got no mangoes on it, and the leaves were all dry. So I just walked past it and I went my way. But you see, Prashant, just recently I was on that same road, and this time around, a lot's changed about the mango tree. The mango tree caught my attention pretty good from a distance, and immediately, Prashant, I got the urge to move so close to it, of which I did, and it wowed me. Because now the mango tree's got a lot of mangoes on it, beautiful green leaves and healthy branches, and not just mangoes now, Prashant. I'm talking about ripe mangoes. It was such a lovely experience that day, and I was so excited. Here is my point. The fact that you dedicated your time, energy, and resources to becoming the amazing Prashant that you are today, that alone has made it impossible for me to skip you. And that's why you got the request from me to be on the show because I was attracted to the fruit of all that you're doing. Your philosophies, your insights, your journey, the impact your work is having, and how you are offering your solutions. Prashant, these stuffs are beautiful. And just before I sent you that request, my man, I said to myself, I've got to benefit from these beautiful things Prashant is doing. And not only me now, because I don't want to look selfish, and even with the audience. And here we are today with the amazing Prashant. So thank you so very much for doing that to yourself. And secondly, thank you for saying yes to the invite. Because if you had said nope, there was nothing Elisha could do about it. Thanks so much, my man.
Of course, happy to be here.
Beautiful. So let's get started, my man. You see, I am quite excited to have you on the show today for some reasons. Firstly, my interest in knowledge seeking. I believe in order for one to transition from a terrible situation to that of a beautiful one, Prashant, I believe it takes the application of knowledge, solid information, and not just knowledge alone, but the application of it. And you see, my man, ever since I discovered that light in the Hebrew means knowledge and darkness ignorance, I've been so keen to knowledge seeking. Why? Because I do not want to remain in the dark. So that's going to make our conversation today very important to me and even to the listeners. And the second reason why I'm excited to have the incredible Prashant on the show is for the sake of the audience. You see, my man, we live in an age where information is as abundant as grains of sand. We've got lots of information flying out there. So these folks trust me for quality, eye-opening, and very important information, of which I am totally convinced, my man, that our conversation is going to be insightful and impactful. So for that reason, my man, let's get started with your introduction. Talk to us about your personal or your professional journey, because right now we are so curious. We want to know how Prashant got here. Then afterwards, I've gotten some beautiful questions for you. Okay, Prashant, over to you.
Okay. Well, hello, everybody. My name is Prasant Nukalapati. And I know that my personal purpose is to work with young people to help them figure out what their future can look like. And so that's always been a passion of mine. I've been an educator for over 27 years, including in the classroom, outside of the classroom, leadership development, career pathway programs. And I try to take that knowledge, as well as my knowledge as a parent of a young person, and apply it to my work, which is helping young people launch, helping young people feel hopeful, and helping young people create a path forward that feels meaningful and authentic to them, rather than a collection of things they're supposed to do because everybody else around them is doing those things. So this has been my work for a very long time, and I'm just excited to be able to do it because I think we all have a calling, and I think my calling is this. And so, I think about my own journey when I'm thinking about the journey of the young people that I work with, and I'm happy to talk a little bit more about that. I'm based in San Francisco, and in addition to the work that I do professionally, I also am a mentor to young people who are first in their generation to go to college. My parents are immigrants, so I bring that knowledge as well. The experience of being a part of an immigrant family deeply has, in fact, it has affected my journey and shapes the journey as I continue to move forward. So,
Hmm, amazing, Prashant. And you are doing a fantastic one. I mean, your calling is something that the world at large will greatly benefit from because I believe young people, youth, are the future leaders of tomorrow. Whatever we plant in the minds of youth now will tell in the future. So the beautiful stuff that you're doing, I tell you, it's really important. And thank you so very much for heeding to your call. So I've got some questions here. Are you ready for me?
sure, absolutely.
All right. So how can a parent, because we've got a lot of parents listening to us, so how can a parent know if their teen is truly ready for a 4-year college? Like, how can they know?
Sure. So, this I think speaks to part of the work that I do with young people. A lot of times I meet young people in the last years of high school. And so they're trying to think through what comes next, right? Hence the name of my company, What Comes Next After High School. They look around and they see everybody around them applying to high school. And then parents are also part of that, right? They look around and they see parents around them supporting their kids. And suddenly all of the conversation turns to high school. Everything is high school is the metric of success. And many times I think parents think that if their child is ready to graduate from high school, that they are ready to go to a 4-year college. And what they don't understand is that many times the skills that you need to graduate from high school are very different than the skills you need to not only survive, but thrive in college. So the high school educational system in the United States, in many ways, is a system that asks young people to repeat information, right? It doesn't necessarily ask them to process that information or to do a deep dive into that information, but from my experience, it often asks them to repeat and show that they can retain a set of information. So when a young person graduates from high school, it doesn't necessarily mean that they are ready to do the more deeper thinking that is expected at the college level. And it's such an interesting divide. So when you ask this question, I think about all of those parents who think, well, college is the answer. That is what I've been working for this whole time. And college is the answer. So, of course, my child is ready to go to a 4-year college. They're graduating from high school. They even may have very good grades. So, of course, they're ready to go to college. But what I'm asking is for parents and for the young people themselves, but mainly they need that direction from their parents to ask questions like, Are you ready to advocate for yourself when something goes wrong or when you need
Hmm.
help? Because when you are at home for high school, mom or dad can step in and they can speak to your teacher. Sometimes they can call your teacher. But when you go to college, your parents are not going to be able to call the professor, right? The professor would look askance at having a parent call them and ask them how the child is doing because there's an
Right.
understanding that your child is ready to be independent. So that is one metric. Like, can your child um, manage discomfort and ask for help to overcome that discomfort, right? Because if they cannot, then maybe they need a little bit more time to be ready for college. So that's an example of one of the types of questions that I want parents to ask, right? Can they take care of themselves? Like, can they feed themselves? Can they ensure their physical well-being, right? Can they do things on their own? Because if you are a parent and you have to get your child up every morning to go to school, there is nobody at college that will replicate that. So these are the types of, I think of it as more like life skills that your student should have to be more likely to be successful in college. Last one that I would say is, can they manage their finances, right? Because like if they have never had the experience of either having an allowance or some sort of money that is tied to their actions and that they are managing that, then sending them off to college, which is an investment of several tens of thousands of dollars for many families, right? There are going to be like financial management pieces all along the way in small and big ways, whether that be managing money for food, managing money for fun things, managing money for books. Can they do these skill sets? So these are the questions that I want parents to ask. Not, did my child graduate from high school? Because your child can graduate from high school and not be ready for college.
Hmm. Oh my, this is so beautiful and very insightful. Your child may graduate from high school but not be ready for college. And that's so true because I read about a story where that kid just got to college and he cannot advocate for himself. He cannot stand for himself. So when one thing led to another and they were interrogating him, they said, why did you join this bad gangs? He said, I joined because I needed someone to stand for me. I needed someone to protect me. So that
Mm-hmm.
circles back to what you said, that grades alone ain't enough. Is this child ready to stand for himself, advocate for himself, speak for himself? Wow, that's a beautiful one, my man. And now I understand why you're so good at what you do. Thank you. So we still have some questions here. Yeah. So what signs show that a child may not be ready for a traditional college path? What are the signs?
I think some of the signs are the ones that I just talked about. I think a lot of it is about their ability to do things for themselves. And I think that as parents, we need to give young people opportunities to practice that, right? We need to give young people the opportunity to manage their own money. We need to give young people the opportunity to make mistakes so that they can figure out the solutions to those mistakes without relying on somebody else showing up to do that, right? And I think also I I would say this goes back to the issue of purpose, right? Um, if a child does not know what their personal why is, if they don't know what their personal purpose is, they often don't understand why they're at college, right? Because it's not in service of any idea or pathway that they have articulated for themselves. So I would say one sign is, can your child like articulate why they want to go to college? And if it's not more than, well, that's what I'm supposed to do, right? That's a sign that your child is probably not ready for this. And think again about the level of investment that a family makes to send a child to college. And I think one of the things that I want to do is give parents the permission to think that maybe four-year college isn't the correct path immediately after high school, but maybe with a couple of years of work experience or even time at a junior college to practice some of these independent skills, maybe an internship, that saying no to college immediately after high school doesn't mean you're saying to no to college forever. It just means you're trying to figure out the best pathway for your young person to succeed when they actually get to college. And sometimes a young person needs more time and more clarity around why they're there.
I got that. I got that. So hypothetically, let's say a parent asks you, say, how can my child prepare for a career in an AI-driven world? What would your response be?
I think it does. It's a good follow up question because there's so much uncertainty in the world, right? We don't know the impact of AI, and I think many parents are hedging their bets and feeling like, well, we don't know about the future, but at least if my son or daughter has a college degree, that they'll be better prepared. And there's no guarantee, and we often find that, for example, many young people have college degrees. I read one survey result. It said something like 25% of young people with a college degree 10 years after college are making less than $15 an hour. Okay? So we can't assume that college itself is the answer to an AI world. Again, what we can focus on is helping young people build skills and habits that allow them to pivot and transition to whatever changes come next. And what I mean by that is, for example, if your child is somebody who has a very hard time like changing direction, right? That child is going to struggle in an AI world. But if you can support your child in being patient and trying new things, even if those things don't work out right away, they are going to be much better positioned. And I think that that's true for careers as well, right? So there are no guarantees, like maybe 10 years ago, again, I come from an immigrant family. In immigrant communities, we often rely on like 1, 2, 3 pathways. It's usually either an engineer, a doctor, or a computer engineer, right? And what we're finding is that a lot of people who are moving into like computer programming, those jobs are often the first ones to go in the face of AI, right? So there's no guarantee. There's no guarantee. What I would say is first help your young person clarify what their purpose is so that whatever they do is meaningful to them. And then help them build skills so that they succeed in a world that's changing around them very rapidly.
I tell you, purpose is so important because when you understand your why, your path will be very, very clear because you know where you're heading to. For instance, someone who knows that, okay, my why is to become a doctor. Going to high school is definitely going to be in line of subject that would ensure that comes to pass. I got that. So finally, Beba, to bring this to an end, what would you like to leave the audience with, like a final thought? And to those individuals who like to reach out to you, learn more about the wonderful stuff you're doing, or even ask you questions. Or maybe they want your advice or instructions on something. How can that be possible?
Okay. Well, I think the thing that I want people to leave with is that there's a lot of fear and uncertainty, right? And sometimes when we operate in a space as parents of fear and uncertainty, we make decisions that are based on fear and uncertainty rather than being aspirational and hopeful. I want every parent and even young person listening to us speaking today to know that there is a path forward to a meaningful future, an authentic future, a future connected to some real sense of who a young person is at a particular time in their lives, what is important to them, what they're good at, what they can add to the world. So I want people to feel like if we're talking about young people and their future, that college is not the only pathway to success, but that it is a pathway, and that for the right student, it is a good pathway. And there are many young people out there who are suffering because they are on this conveyor belt headed to college, and that is not the conveyor belt they should be on. So, but saying that, I'm here to also say that there are other paths. There are other paths that make sense. And that is the work that I do. I work with young people to help them figure out the path that makes sense to them and that feels hopeful to them. So my company is called What Comes Next Educational Consulting, and the website is wcned.com. Very simple. What Comes Next ed.com. And if you go to that website, a parent who is wondering about these questions or wondering if I'm the person who can help them or their young person figure out their future, I do offer a half-hour introductory free consultation to anybody who would like to learn more about how I work with young people and my philosophy around helping them think through what comes next.
Beautiful, and that's a great moment, man. So that's going to be the end of the show, Prashant. Thank you for coming, and thank you for sharing this wonderful stuff with us. It means a whole lot, man. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Elisha.